What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Stoic Context. Today we are going to react to another Kevin Samuels video. Before we get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm going to be saving my commentary for the end of the video, so stay tuned for that.
That's the truth. I'm telling a lot of
You
women.
got to turn YouTube off in the background.
What?
Sorry.
What do you got for me?
Okay, well, first of all, I love your channel. I think you do great work. I more want to know what you would advise for like a early 20s. Yes, I know sometimes you don't like the early 20s women, but what you would advise for someone who has seen the struggle and doesn't want to replicate that. I didn't go to school for my degree. I work in social media marketing, but there's nothing like super stability about that, and I more want to be taken care of. So I do the necessary things, compatible and sweet and all those things. I want to know more like, in COVID, you can't really do much, but like, what do you recommend?
Okay, I'm not sure on the question because first you said something about being early 20s and that I don't like it or what?
Well, typically the younger the girl, the more you kind of like are like, all right, girl,
It depends on what she's saying.
Well, I'm saying, what would you advise for?
Hold on. Well, I need to respond to that because I can't just leave that out there. When a young woman's coming in giving her opinion, that's fine. But when she starts giving advice, I have to balance that out against her lived experience and her knowledge. So you can have an opinion, but when you give advice, it needs to be against something that's credible. That's when I tend to brush it
Sorry
off.
about that.
All right, so you're younger, and you want, what do you want?
I want your advice on what you think I should do to get the lifestyle I want.
I don't know what lifestyle you want, so let's start there. How old are you?
23.
And what do you want to be married?
Yes.
You want children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
2. You know what comes next? Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with the first child?
I would not like to pay significant bills.
All right. And do you live in the northeast, south, or west of the country?
Right now I live in the west, but I'm from the south. That's probably where I'd go back to.
Okay. So how much would a man need to take? How much would a man need to make to fund the kind of lifestyle that you and your 2 children, how much would he need to make annually to provide the kind of lifestyle you want?
I would like minimum $300,000 a year.
And that's like Atlanta dollars. Okay. So what kind of men make that kind of money? What do they do? Just some professions.
Athletes. CEOs. Doctors, lawyers.
Okay. Athletes. Let me go ahead and turn this. Athletes. CEOs of what?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Well, see, that's part of the problem, right? Because you can identify what you want, but when I'm starting to ask you to fill it out, it starts to get vague. What are some of the give me some, what are some jobs that you think, well, how about this? At what age do you think a man starts making around $300,000 or more?
30.
30. All right.
Yeah.
What's the oldest man you've ever dated?
Early 30s.
What, early 30s meaning 31 or what?
Like 35.
All right. So, number one, and what percentage of men earn $300,000 or more in this country?
I'm not sure of the number.
Less than 5%.
Okay.
So it sounds to me that you really don't have a firm grasp on reality of men and earning in this country. Because the first thing that came out of your mouth was athletes. That's concerning to me.
Well, I didn't mean if they were, husband material.
Well, but when I asked you, but it's still concerning. And then CEOs. See, you have to understand what it is you want and the reality of getting it. You want an exceedingly small group of men, and men don't start earning that kind of money until their late 30s. Between 45 and 55 is when men earn that kind of money. not early 30s.
Okay.
So would you want to be married to a man who's 45?
Preferably no. We probably would clash.
Why?
We have different interests.
What do you mean?
I feel like he probably would be a little bit further progressed than me, and we wouldn't be able to see eye to eye on things.
What does he need to see eye to eye with you on?
Say that one more time.
What does he need to see eye to eye with you on?
I mean, let me rephrase that. I feel like we probably wouldn't have that much chemistry because I have talked to guys around that age, and I feel like we just don't have as much chemistry.
I don't care about
Like
chemistry.
I have to put certain parts of myself away to be more.
Ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. Chemistry, what does that mean?
Like, I don't know, just the younger. I have to be more mature and more like less youthful. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Well then I don't know how to word it. I could do it, but I would feel like I would be less of myself, less youthful, less.
I gotta be really direct with you then.
Go ahead.
Then date men. Then you don't want to look, sweetheart.
Go ahead. Tell me.
You're not the asset. He is.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you guys want it all. You want chemistry and love and connection. When you want a man who's making $300,000 a year, so you don't have to work. I got news for you. You are going to have to get on his program. So if you got to put up the whatever the youthful stuff is, that's the cost of entry to get a man who's earning that kind of money. If not, go deal with a guy who's 26 years old or 27 years old making $50,000, $70,000 a year, and you got to work.
Okay.
Because what I'm hearing from you is you don't seem to understand. Number one, one of the problems in our community is we prize youth. Black people value and prize youth. When I say dating older, it in our community, it's like a taboo. In other communities, it makes perfect sense, especially if you want a higher standard of living. You have to marry a man who is earning that. Look at your president. How many years older is he than his wife?
Are you asking me?
Huh?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Donald Trump is how many years, about how old do you think his wife is?
I don't know, 40, 50?
She's not 74. And that's the point.
Okay.
So
what do you recommend I do?
I don't think you're gonna. How tall are you?
5'9".
Dress size?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself?
157.
All right. I don't think you'd be really cut out for the kind of man you're talking about.
Why?
Because one, you're going to have to get on his program. He's not going to get on yours. Chemistry, all these other kind of things, that's love talk. That's for young people. That's not for women who want to be, huh?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead, sir.
You want physical shit, and you can have that, but it's gonna be struggle love. You want to be taken care of. You want to be taken care of. Then that means a man who's making that kind of money, he's gonna have to be at a certain place in his life. And here's the thing: what is he gonna need from you? And it sounds like you said you're gonna clash, and I'm gonna tell you why you clash, because you wouldn't know how to serve a man at that level. Have you ever served a man?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Where?
I mean, I'm from the South, so we kind of.
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. I'm just, as a 23. What's your longest relationship?
1.5 years.
How old was he?
You're not gonna like it. He was young. He was my age. It was years ago.
Okay. And how long ago? Years ago, ma'am? You're 23.
It was when I was 20, but I haven't dated anyone my age since I was 20.
Why? Okay. Why not?
Because I want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I was more asking if like
I'm,
I could have someone that I enjoy spending time with,
I
I
don't.
don't have to
Okay,
put.
but what I'm trying to explain to you is,
Yes, sir.
I, your mindset
What?
seems to be set up incorrectly. Okay,
Okay.
it's not about what you want. It's what
Okay.
value can you deliver to a man who's in the top 5% of earners. You're competing
Okay.
with the women around him. That's what
Mm.
you're competing with. You're competing with women who are already. You're competing with all the women who don't want to work. What are you bringing to the table at 20 that's different than those women? And so
Okay.
when I hear, talk about chemistry and uh, things you'd have to sacrifice, you're already in the, dating a guy at that age is one thing. Yeah, guys will date you, the
Mhm.
possibility of sex, but marrying you now, because it doesn't sound like you're really in it for anything other than what you want. You want to be taken care of. Okay, what is he gonna get for taking care of you?
What
What is
should
he
he
gonna?
get?
Hmm?
I mean, the
What
agreeableness, right? That's what you always say. The agreeableness and the
agreeableness
you
is standard
fit
though.
fitness.
Okay, agreeableness is standard.
Okay.
The so sex is standard. Children standard.
Mhm.
Agreeableness is standard.
Mhm.
What is he going to get special about you that he cannot get from the dozens and hundreds of women who want a man on his level?
I don't know. We probably all are competing in the same way,
Exactly, which is why your mind isn't set up in the
which
right
is
way.
why I
So,
gotta settle for some things.
well, it's not settled. It's just you don't see. I need you guys to take this word settle out. This settle word is bothering you. You don't qualify for anything better. It's just like saying I settled to go to, University of Georgia when you wanted to go to Ivy League, but you didn't have Ivy League grades or Ivy League SATs. You didn't settle. You got them where you could get. And at 23, the kind of women who get a man, and do you care what race he is?
No, no, sir.
All right. So you said you dated a man who was older and you guys clashed.
No, we didn't clash. I just knew I had to be less of myself.
And what does that mean?
Like, he was a white guy, so,
Okay.
like, there were certain things I wouldn't talk about, certain
But
ways I wouldn't talk, like, certain
ma-
jokes I wouldn't make,
I
like,
don't know what
I
that
think it's the
means.
childish things, like, I don't know,
Cer-
I'm more of, like, a funny, charismatic type, so I felt like I had to
Okay.
limit
Well, you had to be a grown up.
that. Yes,
Welcome to the world.
but I feel like I would have a more enjoyable time in the company of someone more like me. Is that wrong to, like, want someone of a high status who's, like, I can enjoy
No.
their company more?
Okay. Okay. You want it all. Listen to me very carefully. You cannot
How
have it
is that
all.
all? That's like a
All right.
simple thing, no?
No, it's okay. But you want him to make $300,000 a year. Pay attention. The man who's making that kind of money is working 12, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. He's a serious man. He's
Mhm,
ambitious. He's driven. And a wife is going to be, I don't think you ladies understand what it takes for a man to be at that level. And what you're saying is you couldn't be youth. That's exactly why, man. You are not ready. You're not really cut out for a man at that level. He's a
mm,
serious man and he doesn't need a 23-year-old girl. He needs a
mhm.
woman. That's not an offense, but where are your woman skills?
Okay, I understand.
Do you?
Yes, sir.
What are your woman skills? How can you help a man who's 40?
Well, I guess being a helpmate, biblical terms, supporting, um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The
And that's
the
why
the
and this
support
this this
second
and the reason I
the
ask these hard
second.
questions is because women, young ladies like yourself,
Uh-huh,
to overlook the men that really would be a good fit for you emotionally
uh-huh.
because you're looking for a money outcome. Ma'am,
Who do you think would be a fit for me emotionally?
uh look. yeah, I'm not done with this part of it because
Okay.
here's the reason I'm about done with it because I 72% of women in this country, mothers, have to work full or part time.
Mhm.
I don't know why so many black women don't want to work. And then you deliver nothing of value that's special.
Tell me what I need to deliver, and it'll be done.
All right. Destiny. Uh,
Hello, Kevin.
hello. I'm just. Oof. You would never work with a man like myself or a man on my level. You no way. I mean, let me do this real quick. Look,
Take your
I'm gonna
time.
hold on. Let me just tell you, you're cute, and you're probably
Okay.
used to getting by on your looks, but that ain't special, sweetheart.
Okay.
And you cannot step to a man who's got his shit together, who's going somewhere in life, thinking you're the prize.
Okay.
Your attitude is wrong, and you're looking for a quick fix. Deal with men on your emotional level because you're not a woman. You're still in the girl phase. Girls need boys. Women need men. That's why I tried to
Okay.
cut it down because even the way you're asking questions is out of line. And I'm trying not to check you because you're young. You're out of line for what it is you want. You don't qualify for it. If you didn't look the way you thought, the way you look, and you wouldn't be asking for what you're asking for. You'd be asking for a regular guy.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
You're still going. Go ahead, Destiny. You can ask a question so
Okay.
I can be done with it. Go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead, young lady, ask your question, and I'll
Okay.
get under Destiny. Go ahead.
I don't want to be a little girl who needs a little boy. What do you recommend I do to qualify for the men that I want?
This is where the school's going to come into play. You guys are going to have to learn how to do all this stuff because unfortunately you didn't learn when you were at home in the community. You didn't learn it. So I don't begrudge you, but where'd you go to college?
Didn't go.
You didn't go?
No, sir.
All right. Well, so you graduated high school.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Los Angeles.
With who? Do you live by yourself?
Yes, sir.
Who you live with?
By myself.
All right. You don't have to go to school for it because I don't know. You didn't learn it, and I can't. And I don't want to get too much further into it. You didn't go to college. That's a whole range of people around your age and dating that you missed out on. So going straight from high school, it's going to be really hard for a high school. And I mean, and so it's going to be real hard for a high school graduate to be talking about a man in the top 5% of earners.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff, and if you want that, I don't know why you want it, other than the fact is you don't want to work, but you don't get it just because you want it. You have to earn it and deserve it before you get it.
I'm going to college.
Yeah, see there's like the certain level of immaturity and the lack of understanding in which she just can't understand. She just can't grasp it. It's tough. She doesn't have that maturity yet. She doesn't have that ability to properly discern and to break things down and have a compass that's gonna lead her in the right direction. She doesn't have that yet. She doesn't have that ability. And it's partly because, yes, she is young. But even that, this woman is coming in and her spirit seems very dimmed. And like, she's like one of those women that drag her hands on the ground as she walks and drags her feet and looks down and kicks rocks. There's no life there. There's no excitement. It sounds like it's all a dark hole that she's just positioned herself to sit in. But notice this. When she was speaking about the time that she dated this white man, she said that I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be like, laughing and pretty much be a person that can be themselves and act a bit erratic and, joke. And it's funny because she didn't even seem like even half of that person in this call. But notice this. When it comes to the white boyfriend, she stood in line because she know they don't play that. She knows that a woman is not going to come in, especially from another race, having all the stereotypes that we have on us and act just like those things. So women like that will give a totally different side to that man. But guess what? If she gets a black man, right, or a man of any other race, she's going to expect to be herself fully and act immature. So with the white man, she won't act immature. She'll stay in line. Any other race, she's going to act immature. She's going to want to be herself. She's going to want to be outgoing, laughing, making jokes. Like Kevin said, these men are serious. They're not going to be playing around. They don't have time for you to be being an outcast. But again, as Kevin said, this woman doesn't qualify for a man of that stature. She doesn't. Even some of the questions that she's asking, you can tell that she isn't primed to be in that position. She's not there.
You were saying?
Never mind. I don't even. Never mind. Because never mind.
I don't
Thank
understand, ma'am. You were talking
Let's
about
take
high
that
value
back.
men and confidence.
I just was saying once upon a time, because I'm 33, so it's like I met quite a few men in my time. It's just the type of guys that I actually like. If when I get them, I don't know, it's like I believe it's not saying that I believe. I know it's a confidence thing. Because it's like it's not that I can't obtain it or I can't get it. It's I
What do you
had
mean
it.
by high
I
value?
have it
What do you
now.
mean by what do you mean by high value? Are you talking about the kind of money these guys make?
Just it's actually, sir, it's not even about the money. It's about the mentality. I like I like alpha males. I really
You like
do.
alpha
That's just
male.
my thing.
Okay. Do you have any children?
I have one son,
Oh, okay.
and I had him at 27. I'm 33.
And high value men tend to make on the higher side of the income bracket too.
Yes, this is true. I'm not denying that.
So you're looking for a man that's like a 6-figure guy?
He don't have to be six figures. All I'm saying is that I just want someone that has class, that has value, basically.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. It's not even about a money thing.
Well, where's the father of your child?
He's around. He's around. He helps. He take care of his son. There's nothing wrong with that. He's definitely not the issue. He's a good person. He's a good
But
person.
why aren't you guys
That's
together?
all I can say.
Was he a high value man? Was he a high value man?
Very valued. He's valued.
No. No.
Very.
He was. Say again. He was very valued.
He's he's in my eyes. To me, he's high value. He has his stuff together. He's he's a good man. He's a great man. But for
So
me,
whoa. But if he's a high value man and he's a great man in your eyes and has his stuff together, and you already have a baby with him, Why are you out here trying to find another one? Why don't you just get with the one you got?
Well, sir, I mean, he said that I was too good for him, like I was too nice, basically.
Okay.
He, in my eyes, he prefer more girls that kind on the hood side. I'm not exactly that. I like to hold conversations. I like to learn things. I like to do things. He's not quite that type of person, which I
So
knew
why did you
then.
give him?
It's
So
just
why
at
did
the
you give
time
him?
when
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
met him.
Right. Then why did you give him a baby?
Well, honestly, I kept him because I honestly
Why did
didn't
you
think
give
I
him
could
a?
have
You,
child. I'm
no.
listening.
You gave this man a child, and I'm asking you, why did you have a baby with this man if he wasn't? See, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Okay.
Why'd you have a kid with a man who ain't worth being with?
Honestly, I had a kid because I didn't want to have an abortion, and I was old enough and kind of doing, good enough to have him. I mean, we were good, but once the baby came, he just kind of flipped. I don't want to. Yeah,
Okay.
he kind of flipped
All right.
basically.
All right, ma'am. The reason I ask you is because you came on talking about confidence and changing and high value, and you're all over the place. I'm just not getting it. And 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 again, another one,
All
another.
I was saying, just to answer.
Well, you can't answer
I'm sorry.
the question you were answering, ma'am. Is, see, when your life is chaotic like this, it's hard for people to take your opinion seriously.
Okay, that's fair.
Ladies, people are calling in to get advice, and they're listening to a woman who says she confidence and this and that and can change, and but you're not doing it in your own life. I want a high value man. I want an alpha male. All right. What about your ex? Well, he's a good man and a great character. Well, why aren't you with him? Well, because he ain't that. What?
Well, no, he
No,
said, well,
ma'am.
sir,
No,
he said that
I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I've heard what you had to say. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's okay. But I would say this: high value men have something to do with income first. And men of a certain status do not want to be a stepfather to a woman who is a baby mama.
okay,
You're not a widow. You're not a divorcee. You're a single. I don't call them single mothers. I call them baby mamas. And high value men
okay,
do
that's fine.
well. I mean, you call into the show, so see. Here's the problem: when a lot of women like yourself speak on high value men like you've had them, and you haven't. You make it seem common. You did not have a high value man, but you tried to say like you did and like you're a woman on that level, and you're
Okay, well,
not. That's a problem. Just be who you are and embrace it.
I'm understanding what you say, but listening to your other shows versus blue collar versus white collar and all that stuff, when I think of a high value man, whether it's white collar or blue collar, I just think of a man who has standards. And not saying that my son's father wasn't a good person or whatever. I should have left when I had a chance to, which is true.
But you had a
Honestly, I
baby with
didn't
him.
think.
You had a baby with him.
Well,
And what kind of and
it's no
what did he
excuse.
do for a living? What was his job? What was his job title?
Well, he's in construction welding, but it's like temp job. But
So he
he
was not
comes from
fully
a
employed.
well-off.
Oh, ma'am, he was not fully employed. You said temp
No,
jobs. That
he
means not
wasn't.
full,
But he's the
ma'am,
type of.
not fully employed, meaning 2,000 hours a year. Temp job means temporary, meaning not full. He was not fully employed.
I'm not arguing with you.
I know you're not. I'm just getting the facts.
You.
I'm just getting the stuff straight. You were dealing with a man. You were having unprotected sex with a man who was not fully employed, and you had a child by a man who's not fully employed. He may be a nice guy. I'm certainly not gonna run him down. I don't do that. But what I'm saying is, men are looking at the chaotic details of a woman's life, and they're not high value. A man with standards will not touch this. And it sounds like the man you're talking about that you had a child with did not even meet your minimum qualifications for your standard for you to stay. So how are you talking on high value?
Sir, I take my faults. I understand completely what you're saying. Like I said, I did have a child by a man who was
Ma'am,
working at
the
the
man
temporary.
you the man you're not with, the man you had a child with is not even up to your minimum standard for you to remain with him.
So this is 5 years ago. I'm not giving no excuse. Like I said, when I had a chance to leave, I should have left.
I'm sorry. Let's do that again. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. We have so many women running around talking about high value this, high value that, and you don't have no high value, man. He ain't even have enough value for you to stay with him. I'm tired.
It's so funny because at the ending of this conversation, this woman sat there and said, it was 5 years ago. And also, I'm not trying to make any excuses, but that's literally what she's doing. The man that she was with wasn't a high value man. So what she's going to try to do now is convince everyone else that the man that she's pushed his next DNA, well, his legacy, his DNA, his genetics, push that into the next generation. And then she's going to sit here and try to convince us that he was high value. So it gives her the appearance that anyone she should be dealing with after is high value. And that's completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. She didn't even do things the proper way. She didn't get married. She didn't ask for the most basic form of commitment. Because now we live in a world where having a child is less serious than being married. At least a marriage, you can at least break and you guys can go your separate ways and no one is going to be tied to you for the rest of your life. Once you have a child with someone, you guys are tied, bonded together for life. So how could having a child be less serious than being married? And you don't get to deal with no bum, come out to the market older with a child, and then think a man of any type of stature or status is going to deal with you. Seriously, not seriously at least. Have you riding the CC? Possible. You getting his last name and being married and getting benefits and being that person? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
Hello. Hey.
My question is, how can
What's your
a
first name?
younger Destiny?
Okay, go ahead.
How can younger women like me connect with an older guy? I was once
How old
in
are
a
you? How old are you?
26.
Okay. Connect with an older guy?
Yeah, I was dating a guy. He told me he was 35, but he ended up being 42. And the relationship just ended. So I just kind of felt like once I knew his age, I really couldn't connect with him, and I just didn't
Why?
know.
Why?
I
Well,
just felt
first,
like we.
let me. How old was he? 45.
No, he told no, he told me he was 35, but he ended up being 42.
So he was all of 9 years old. He was. He told you. He was, so
He
you're
told me he was 35.
and you're 26. So
Yes,
he
and he
told you
ended
he
up
was
being
9 years
42.
older than. Okay. So how old is? Where's your dad?
He's not in my life.
Exactly. Tell her what she wins, Bob. She wins a list of daddy issues. Because women worldwide tend to prefer to date older men because older men tend to have already got all the game and stuff out of our system. We tend to be ready for relationships. We've had time to get out here and work and acquire resources. So, yeah. But if you didn't have a dad in your life, it's hard to look at a man, see what a man was supposed to do. What's the oldest? What's the oldest man outside this last guy? What's your longest relationship?
A year and a half.
Uh, and how long ago was that?
That was two years ago.
And why did you guys break up?
I found out he had someone else.
He was cheating.
Yes.
How did you find that out?
Um, I was just over his place and she showed up.
Hmm. What'd she say?
Who are you? It was a big mess, and I'm just like, I just don't need it. I feel like I'm young enough to move on and
So
to
what's the
find someone.
oldest? What's the oldest man you would want to date?
I would say 35, and
30.
I think that's why he said it.
Okay. And do you want to be married?
I do.
All right. Do you want to have children one day?
I absolutely do. Yes.
How many?
4 or 3.
Okay. And what city do you live in?
Kansas City, Missouri.
All right. Midwest. So, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with your first child?
I would say, yeah. I realize that we live in a world that it's almost required nowadays to live comfortably. So I wouldn't mind. I would definitely do that.
I said, do you want to have to though?
I don't want to have to, but I know realistic, I would.
Here's the problem with that answer. Most relationships break up. Uh, Money is cited as a problem, and women who say they wouldn't mind really do mind. And I'm just trying to ask you, what do you want? You mean you want to work until you're pregnant? You want to be on your feet working through the eighth month, 8 month and 2 weeks. Then you want to take off the last 2 weeks, go into labor, have a child, and then 12 weeks after you have that child, you want to go back to work. And then you want to do that again and get pregnant 3 to 6 months in the line and then do that again. And then another 3 to 6 months, get pregnant and do that again. And
Yeah,
have three kids in daycare.
I have a profession between photography and massage that I can take my kids with me.
Oh shit. Here we go. Where it at? Massage therapist. God damn it. Are you an actress too? Yes.
No, I said photography and
Oh, of course.
massage.
So you don't have a real job. You don't have a real job.
Oh,
Sorry, man. My ex-wife was a massage. So you don't have a real job. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just getting. I know what I'm talking about. So all this, you don't mind working. You ain't trying to. Anyway, um, let's get right to the rubber meets the road. How much would a man need to be able to make to support a family and a wife with 3 kids to give him a middle class lifestyle?
I would say 2K, 250. maybe, yeah, 250, maybe in the Midwest.
Okay, it's closer to 350, but that's all right. I'm still trying to be stuck on the fact that you're okay with working. I don't really believe that. I just don't. But I'll take it that. But the thing is, you don't have a profession where you're going into work. So when you're thinking of work, you mean you would be all right trying to give deep tissue massages at 8 weeks at 8 months pregnant?
That's when I will do for more photography work.
Right. You're hoping you would do more photography work. How much money have you made as a photographer?
Um, around 30,000.
Over what period of time?
A year.
$30,000 in 1 year. How much did you make as a massage therapist?
I'm still getting into that right now.
All right. So you're living on $30,000 a year.
Well, I also have a main job with doing post
You said
office, but yeah,
you said okay. How much do you make annually?
I make plus the around 80.
What's your main job?
Post office.
Government work.
Yes.
All right. Why is all this relevant, man? Because I need to understand how long have you been working for the post office?
I've been doing that for about 5 years now.
All right. So, and are you in the office? You a letter carrier? What kind of stuff we're talking about?
Letter carrier.
All right, ma'am. You're not. I find it hard to believe you want to be pregnant carrying letters at 8 months pregnant. And do you know anybody with children? Do you know anybody with kids?
Yeah, yeah. I have a lot of friends with kids.
How much is uh newborn newborn care monthly?
Say it again.
How much is newborn care monthly? Like daycare, that kind
Um,
of stuff. How much is that cost for a newborn?
I know some people I spoke to say it's about maybe 300, 200 a week. So roughly around almost 1,000.
For newborn care? Uh, do some Google searching, but I think your number is low.
No, I
Oh,
wouldn't
okay,
think
ma'am.
so.
I already have. I have a kid. I know the business. I'm talking. I didn't ask you questions. I don't ask questions I don't know the answer to. I just say I want you to go find it out yourself. But anyway, let's see. It sounds admirable, but if 3 kids in the Midwest, you're going to. If you're still looking for somebody to make $250,000 to supplement your income of whatever you're making, how much would you want to have to make annually in addition to your husband's income? How about that?
I want to make 100K.
What percentage of women in this country make $100,000 or more? What percentage of women in this country make $100,000 or more annually?
I'm not sure.
Guess.
Roughly 60.
See what I mean, guys? Women don't know cost. 3% of women in this country make 3 to 4% of women in this country make $100,000 or more, and you say 60.
I'm almost there.
You just skipped over something that was very important to tell me how close you are. 3 to 4% of women in this country make 6 figures, and you're saying you're almost there. Congratulations, and I mean no disrespect to what I'm about to say. I really need you to understand. I mean no disrespect, but the bulk of your income comes from unskilled labor. It comes because you're employed by the federal government. You didn't negotiate that salary. You didn't do any. You didn't go get any special skills to earn that money. You apply for a well-paying job with government benefits. But if you were to lose that job, do you have the skills to make $100,000 a year? And the answer is no. That's what I need you to understand.
Right.
And I need everybody to understand what your skills are worth. So I think you need to rearrange your idea of what money is, because you thinking women are that making that much money is is incredible. And why it's all important is because how old would a man need to be making around $250,000 a year?
I would say upper 30s.
Upper 30s.
38,
Right.
40.
So again, if you want a man who's a higher earner, you're gonna have to deal with older men.
And that's why I called in, just to see the connection. Could there be a connection dating an older guy? Because we have totally different
Well,
interests.
the thing is, you're gonna have to get on his. Well, the thing is, the connection is not for. It's for you to get on his plan. He's the commodity. He's the prize in this scenario. He's the catch, because he's the one that will be carrying the bulk of the financial load for the family. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care about love and chemistry or anything like that. Marriage is a practical thing. It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're talking about makes no sense to me, especially when you start putting financial restraints on it. Are you used to men chasing you?
No. I think that these last two have been.
Go ahead.
They went after me, but no, I'm not used to it.
See, and what I said about getting on, it's a woman's job to look and see how she can nest in a man's situation. It's my job to provide a place for you to nest. I mean, if a man's having to go out and make $250,000, $300,000 a year, he's putting in hard work, long hours. He don't have time to try to romance you and all this other kind of stuff. He's putting in 12, 14-hour days. And this is one of the problems. I think so many of you young ladies really don't know what it takes to make the kind of money you're talking about. Think the kind of money you're talking about is a lot more available and easy. Case in point, you think 60% of women, thought that was a reasonable number to say 60% of women in the country make over $100,000. Then where are the poor women if the majority of women are making over six figures? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at 26, you should have a far more grown up look on life and relationships. If you want to have a middle class standard of life and due respect, you didn't go to college, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you graduate?
Yes.
And then you went to work at the post office?
Yeah, I was going into management.
What's your degree in?
Accounting.
How much student loan debt are you in?
I'm not in much. Roughly 10,000.
Okay. Why didn't you use your degree?
I just couldn't really get into anything, and that was an easy.
You graduated.
Easy job.
You graduated on time.
Did I graduate on time? No.
What year did you graduate?
Graduated 2015.
5 years, man. You graduated on time. roughly. So in 5 years, you couldn't find an accounting job?
No, I couldn't.
That's
And
bullshit. That's bullshit.
no,
Stop.
no, I
Let's
really,
stop.
I really couldn't.
Listen. You went to college to get a degree for nothing then. And this is why dad is so important. There's no way in hell you should have gone to college, get a degree in accounting to go work at the post office. See, if you told me I couldn't get a job right out of school and I needed to pay bills, that's one thing. But you should have still been looking for an entry level accounting job anywhere. But you took the easy path, the government money. But unfortunately, ma'am, that means zero on your resume. If they were to lay you off next month, you would be an entry level worker anywhere. You wasted 5 years of employment time. I get it. The money is probably more at the post office than you could have made as an entry level accountant. But that's short term.
Mhm.
See, if you had been doing entry level accounting stuff, you could have actually been in a position to run accounting out of your home, a bookkeeper or something like that. Non-physical labor that you could do for a husband or a business, not physical labor as a massage therapist, not creative work that's extremely competitive and low end like photography. See, this is the difference with what a lot of non-black people do. Women are actually saying, you know what? I'll have a degree that can I actually work for someone, but I can also translate and work from home as a housewife. Or if my husband owns a business, I can be his bookkeeper. But you have no experience in that. And that's a gap. That's where men are so important because we don't allow you to just get out here and flutter around like you guys are doing, just because the money is better.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I know. So when did you stop looking for a job in accounting?
Um, for a while, once I
Exactly. So you didn't even try, man. You stopped trying.
right.
Okay. So what I need you to hear is the kind of man you're talking about is a man that's driven. The top 5% of men in this country earn the kind of money you're talking about. The top 5%. And you're saying that I work at the post office. I'm a massage therapist trying to be. Working at the post office. I'm a photographer, and I'm trying to become a massage therapist. And you're talking to a man who's structured, disciplined, and a high earner, and your stuff is all over the place. That's why when you said it, I already did 3 broadcasts on women that high value men avoid, and it's because of this chaotic, kind of flighty mindset. Men like the guys I described cannot see how you would be an asset to him. As what could he turn over to you? Even if he had a business, what could he turn over to you? What could you run for the business for the family?
I
So
mean, yeah.
so what I'm saying is, why are you becoming a massage therapist?
It's a business that is in my family, and eventually is going to be passed down to me. I'm a spa, so just going to get into that trade.
Somebody already owns the business?
Yes,
Who?
my mom.
Can't make this shit up. So you're going to go get you're going to go get licensed with the state. How much is an hour massage in your city?
The average massage would be on the high end 80, so around 60, 75.
Yeah, 60, 75 at Massage Envy. $45, 45 to 50 at Massage Envy. So you'd have to ma'am, my ex-wife was this, and I'm telling you, it's not a profitable business. It's a business of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is fine as a single woman. Post office, photographer, massage, but you don't really sound like you even have time to date with all this other stuff going on. Yeah, I would say book a session. There's too much going on here. I mean, but I don't foresee this ending well. Especially if your mom is a massage therapist.
No,
Do you have any sisters?
She owns a spa. Yeah, I
Okay.
own a sister. She just moved down to Dallas.
Right. And where are all the men in your family?
My two brothers are
How
one
old
just
are
came back
How old are they?
28, and then one is 25.
They're not men yet. You got a bunch. You book a session. Because if you don't correct this ship and get a course, a ditch is very likely in the future. Because it sounds to me like you have a family full of creatives, and no male structure. I've seen this picture before many times, and it doesn't end well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, this was the classic case of when you leave people to their own devices, they tend to self-destruct. When you have a lack of a male presence, when you have a lack of leadership, when you have a lack of practicality, all of these things are missed out on. And this is why fathers are so important in households, because at least if a father is there, maybe an uncle, maybe a brother, someone that's a bit older, they would be able to properly give the right instructions or give the right path for someone. But once you're left to your own devices and you start making decisions, those decisions tend to not align with exactly what they want out of life. If you want a family, if you want to have some type of structure, you want to be able to do these type of nice things like go away on vacation and eat out at restaurants and things like that. There's no structure given. There's no instructions given. They're just doing whatever they want. They're walking around not knowing how much it's going to cost. They're walking around not knowing how to prioritize the person that's going to provide it for them. You have no information, but again, you just expect it to work. You just expect to snap your fingers together or slap your hands together and something is just going to appear from the sound. It's not going to. There needs to be more structure. There needs to be more there needs to be more of a masculine presence and leadership to show these women this is how you get things. This is what you should be worried about. This is what you need to think about. And there's not enough of that. Too many are just doing whatever they want, expecting to get the same outcomes as people who's putting in the work. But everyone, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Turn on post notifications so you will be alerted when we upload more videos just like this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Hello, Amber. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How old are you?
22.
22?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me turn your microphone down because you awful kind of loud up in this mug. So what?
Sorry.
No problem. What up, dog? Iron shit. So what did I get wrong?
I don't really think you got anything wrong. I just had I wanted to clarify something.
Okay.
So I noticed that you tend to take the most issue with women who approach you and they say they want someone who will take them out of work. Basically, they'll take care of them, and they don't have any idea of like how much that would cost them or how much they would have to work to get to that position. So me personally, I don't necessarily
No, I don't. I don't accept. I don't accept that. But go ahead and ask the question. I don't accept that as a position that I have.
Okay,
I don't have a position with any woman who wants something. That's what you want. That's what you want. I just ask you, do you know what it's going to require to get it?
Yeah.
And then I do have an issue with somebody who wants a Mercedes and they got money for a bicycle.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Right. But my question to that would be, me personally, I don't necessarily want somebody to like take me out of the game. I don't see myself like necessarily ever not having an income. Like even if I were to be with a man who makes $500,000 a year, I would still be more comfortable.
Okay. Here's what I need to do: turn off the YouTube channel. Stop watching yourself. Because I'm getting background noise. Is your YouTube channel on in the background?
My TV was on, but I don't.
Okay, so at 22 years old, do you want to get married?
Yes.
Do you want to? How many children do you want?
I want to have like 8 kids. I love kids.
8 children?
Yeah, I just want to keep. You know Kiki Wyatt? I want to do what she's doing.
Okay, Kiki who?
Kiki Wyatt.
Yeah.
The singer.
And who's she married to?
I'm not sure.
Right. But you want 8 children. How much does it cost to raise the average child in the United States of America?
I think it was 200. It was either $200,000 or $20,000.
Excuse me?
It was either $200,000 like throughout their lifetimes, or like 20,000. It was in that 2 range.
Right, and right, $200,000. So you want $1.6 million in children. That's what you want. 8 children times 200,000 is $1.6 million. What do you do for a living?
I am a microbiologist.
So you're broke.
I wouldn't consider that.
Okay. Who do you work for?
I work for a pharmaceutical company.
How much do you make annually?
I make $50,000 a year.
Where do you live?
At the moment.
What city?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Okay, you're not broke. You're middle class.
Yeah.
At $50,000 a year, can you afford 1 child?
Yes.
You can afford 1 child at $50,000. Can you afford 2?
Probably no.
Right. But in affording 1 child, would you have a home or an apartment?
With 1 child on 50,000, I would more than likely have an apartment.
Right. And is that how we think we should be raising kids?
No.
So we're gonna keep on moving, man. $50,000 is enough for 1 woman to live a single young woman's life in an apartment. But it's not enough to live a successful life where you can buy a home, travel, have savings, have insurance, have investments, have life insurance, have all the things that get people out of paycheck to paycheck and lead to a generational wealth. 8 children, you would need a man making how much money annually?
You said at least 1.
No.
You said 1.5.
In order to have 3 children, you need a guy making around $350,000. So you need to have a man that's $1 million for 8 children. At this the numbers. Well, even if you trimmed it back in St. Louis, it's not mathematically directional proportional. So closer to around $800,000 to make sure that every child has their room. Every kid, when they turn 16, would have access to a car or a vehicle, even if there's some overlap. Every child could go to college of their choice if they wanted to. The daughters could have their weddings paid for. The kids could have some sort of starter fund, such and so forth. Will you ever make that kind of money in your lifetime with a microbiology degree?
No, not
right.
By myself.
So, how tall are you?
5'7".
Dress size?
Size 6.
How much did you weigh last time you weighed yourself?
148. 148.
Right. And what would you give yourself on a look scale? 1 to 10, 0 to 10, you cannot use 7.
I guess if you give me an adjustable 6, I can be really pretty and I can be really bummy.
When was the last time you wore your hair?
Last month.
Is that a wig or is that?
This is the weave, yeah.
Okay. How long is your hair?
It's about right here when it's straightened, but I have 4C hair. So when it's condensed, it's
So,
like up here.
so why would you not wear your hair if it's shoulder length when straightened?
I just prefer to wear longer hair.
Yeah, but most high value men don't like women with weave.
Mm-hmm.
So in St. Louis, how many men are running around? Do you want a black man or do you care?
I prefer black men.
So how many near millionaire black men are running around St. Louis?
None that I know of.
Right.
Yeah. But I was saying, to go back to, not to negate what you were saying, but I was just asking, me personally, I don't, just off the idea of like somebody having like all of the burden on them, I would prefer to still have an income just to help my man. Or
Yeah, ma'am. Let me just go ahead and knock this out. Kiki Wyatt, this woman with children. How many kids do you say she has?
I think she just had
Mm-hmm.
her 11th, I believe.
She's married in 2010 to Michael Jamar. Michael Ford, the ordained minister. The Wyatt family reality show. As 2013, they had 6 children by 3 by her first. So she got 3 different baby daddies, actually 4 now. 4 different baby daddies. Now I got to ask you, this is the woman you said you like what she's doing.
Oh, I didn't say it in that context.
No. You liked her children, right?
Yeah, I like that she.
But that's what you put out there. But why do you look up to a woman with 8 children by multiple men?
Well, me personally, I love kids.
Okay, but ma'am, why not just say you looked up to Claire Huxtable? She had them all with her husband. Why would you look up to a woman with 8 children by all these men on a reality show?
I might have used a bad example. I do apologize.
It's right. It's kind of right in line. It's kind of right in line with what you're talking about. You're in a fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
You're a microbiologist. You're a cute girl. You're making average money, living in St. Louis. And you're running around here talking about 8 children. And no, where in the world? And you're how old again?
22.
What's the longest relationship you've had?
2.5 years.
How long ago was that?
That ended in December of last year.
Right. And why didn't you guys get married?
We had some drama, outside drama that kind of just made us.
Okay. You have no children though, right?
No, we didn't have any kids.
Okay. Is your father in your life?
Yes.
Were your mother and father married?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm going to suggest, are you close to your dad?
Yes.
Does he help you vet and sort through the men you deal with?
No,
Well, that's a problem. Because if you were with a guy for 2.5 years and you picked him, you're 22. You don't have a lot of time to keep playing around. You need to actually get your feet on the ground, get realistic about who you are, what's available to you out here, and make a decision. Because when I hear a woman talking about reality TV stars and kids and all this other kind of stuff, and you're not even, it sounds like you're still playing with Barbies. And this is why so many of our sisters get stuck. You keep doing this, we're going to look up in 6 or 7 years from now, you're going to be one of these eternal sevens that keep calling into my show, angry that they can't find a man. And ask him, why did you lose? Did you had a man in the back and something was wrong? Was he in college too, the guy you were with?
He already graduated by the time we met.
Okay, so what's he doing with his life?
He's a project manager.
So who broke up with who?
It was a mutual agreement.
There's no mutual agreement, man. That's bullshit. That means you broke up with him. There's no mutual stuff. There's nothing that happens that way in the real life. You know what? There's somebody who precipitates it. I don't care, man. Just be realistic. Do you still communicate with him? Yes. How long ago did you guys break up? December.
It was December.
When was the last time you
So
had sex?
since April. So
Right. So you had sex after the breakup.
yeah.
Get some counseling. Go get your man back. Go live a life.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I'm tired of seeing our young ladies just throw stuff away. Somebody could deal with you for 2.5 years. Again, what do I say? So many of our young women need to get off of social media. Kiki White it or whatever. What are we talking about here? See, like I said, you may not like my approach, but where can you go? Where else are you gonna go to hear somebody tell you something that's close to being realistic, ladies? And I love it when you say, "Oh, well, you're just too harsh, you're too mean." Okay, see, there are plenty of men who would sit back and tell you, "Oh, go live your best life. Your man's gonna come along and Boaz is gonna find you." I'm not gonna tell you that because that's not realistic. That's not how life works. I'm gonna leave the line open because understand something. Far too many women want high value men, and what you're really saying is, I want the lifestyle your money can afford me. But yet, I'm not willing to do whatever. I'm not willing to even understand who you are. See, that's what I think is most interesting. The people, the women who complain about my platform, and there are some. They complain about the way you talk to women, what you say to women, because I tell women the truth that high value men want them to know. But see, they don't seem to have any problem with, for all you women who want to tell me that the way you speak to women, you don't seem to have any problem with these women wanting to use high value men. You see, I hear women talking about, there's a woman on the other end and the woman, her feelings on a woman. What about the men's feelings? What about what the men want? These men have to go out in the world to make something of themselves. And do you think these men want to just sit around and be used by women who have no idea what they want or nothing? 36 years old, and I deserve it. We have done a job on our women. You don't deserve anything. You earn it. Make this clear, Black women. 51% of Black men in the United States of America are single and childless. Blackdemographics.com. Go look for it yourself. Black statistics by Black people for Black people. 64% of Black men are in the middle class. There are plenty of single, middle class, unmarried, and childless Black men. Despite all the in jail, DL, or whatever, plenty of them. But do you want them? Do you want them? And then we sit around, talking about, you deserve this, you deserve that. It's about work. If every Black man in this country married a Black woman tomorrow, there'd still be 2 million more Black women that are single. This is blood sport, ladies. I'm telling you, if no one else told you, they've told you what you wanted to hear. You're a queen, you're this, you're that, you're fabulous. Just sit and wait. I'm telling you right now, your house is on fire and it's burning down. You better get competitive right now. You better get competitive and work, because Black men, this is really going to tick you off. Black men are your only real option. Oh, snap. Black men are your only real option. Because people of a race tend to marry of their same race. That's like saying Chinese men are Chinese women's only real option. Mexican men are Mexican women's only real option. Yes, there are people that marry out, but it still never has gotten past 51%. The most you have is white men with Asian women, and that's still trickling towards 20. The majority of people marry their race. So knock it off thinking you can go get Brad. Knock it off thinking you can go get Lee. Knock it off thinking you can go get Ahmed. Knock it off thinking you can go get Enrique. If you are lucky, you can get Keith. Keith Kenneth, and another K name. Black men. And you heard that woman, 36 years old, with men dying around her left and right. I wouldn't want to date you because I'd be afraid I'd be next. That woman said, an average looking woman, average, said she would not want an average earning black man. Damn, that's messed up. But I'm harsh.
That is so true. Man, shout out to Kevin. You know, what Kevin really highlighted most importantly was that a lot of black women have to consider what the opposite gender wants. Because if you don't even care about it in black men, you won't care about it in any other race of man. It's like the men, period, they disdain. Women like this just care about the outcome. They just want a man making a substantial amount of money. They want to have a ton of kids, and they don't know how they're going to get this person. They believe that a man of means and that has money and has his finances together is just going to pick them up, put them up in a house, and they will never have to work again while he just pay bills and she just lives her life. That is a Disney fairy tale. Chances are that average people will get with average people. And even if you have money, that's still not what men are attracted to. And the things that men are attracted to, women aren't giving because they believe that men are attracted to something else. They believe that men are attracted to the same things that they're attracted to. So if they're attracted to money, they believe men are attracted to money. And it's not the truth. And again, as said, what are these things that men value? Then that's not even that. When you peel the layer back again, are you ready for that? Are you what he wants? Can you provide that? Were you raised to do that? Have you been trained to do these things? Do you even know where he's at? Do you know what to look for? They have none of these answers, but they just want it. They just want the lifestyle.
Jordan, unmute yourself.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
So, what do you think on the topic?
In regards to like what I bring to the table.
Yes, you can stay on.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, a little context. I'm 21 and I currently attend Emory, in Atlanta. So I think what I bring to the table personally is I'm very well connected. I have a very magnetic energy, able to network well, very adaptable, strong emotional intelligence, very graceful and very put together. And I definitely think my environment has contributed to that. So for me, that's what I think I bring.
Okay. You said you're 21?
Yes. No, 20. Sorry. I'm turning 21 in December though.
Okay. Yeah, you're young for this. So, are you wanting to be married and have children and all that stuff?
I do.
Do you want to work after you're pregnant?
No, I don't think so. Not after I'm pregnant. I want to homeschool. So that's kind of my aspiration. Yeah.
All right. So here in Atlanta, were your mother and father married?
They were for 13 years.
So, are you actively dating anyone?
I'm not.
All right. So the network you're talking about and things like that, I don't know what you're referring to, but at 20 years old, have you not wanting to work? That's a certain caliber of man. Do you date older men?
I have.
Okay, you have. And how old is the oldest man you've dated?
Let's see, 24, 25.
Ain't old, baby girl.
Well, old for me at the time.
See. I mean, do you know how much money would a man have to make to be able to support a wife like you in Atlanta with 3 children and you not working?
Well, see, the thing is, I do want to work. But after I'm after I have kids, then no, I don't want to work ideally. But
So it's still not working. Understand how the math
right.
works. Even if you want to work for a year or two, once the kids
Yeah.
start, you want to stop. So it means not working.
Right.
So just go ahead and say, I don't want to work. And that's the way the math works.
I don't want to.
Huh?
I don't want to.
You don't want to work?
No, not. Well, I do, but at the same time, I really want to homeschool. So.
All right. So what I'm saying is, you ladies need to stop being multi-minded. You need to just stand on what it is. I don't want to work. All right, then. How many kids? 3? 2?
Yes, 3.
All right. So, what area of Atlanta? If you lived in Atlanta, what area of Atlanta would you like to live in?
Let me see.
You're 5'7" and 145 pounds is the average size of a boxer. Good item. So just understand, boxers are around 145 pounds, 140, 145 pounds. So go ahead. I mean, you don't want to live in Bankhead, do you?
Oh, absolutely
East
not.
Point. So let's get to it.
I would like to stay somewhere between Buckhead and
right.
the Emory area.
Right. So, right. And how much would a man need? What do you think a man would need to make to afford to live in Buckhead? Have a wife. Hold on. Have a wife that stays home and can homeschool 3 children.
Yeah.
How much money does he need to make annually?
I'm gonna just say like 400.
How many 24-year-old men do you make $400,000 legally?
I know maybe like 1, but definitely not very many.
Legally?
Yes.
What does he do for a living?
He works in like a venture capital firm, but he's like the program director. So
at 24.
Yes. Sorry, 26, but in that area.
Yeah. Okay. So, you see the first thing? You said you were dating an older, but the kind of money you're talking about, how old do you think a man needs to be to make $400,000 a year? Average age.
Oh, I'm gonna say like 50.
In his 40s.
Oh, 48.
In his late 30s, 40s, or 50s. So.
Okay.
Okay. So, are you looking to marry a man who's 40?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind.
See, this is that settling talk. See, you wouldn't mind because he has the money. It wouldn't be your.
No, I don't think that's it. I genuinely, I feel like since I was a little bit younger, I've always kind of talked to older men, so it wouldn't be like out of the ordinary for that to also happen.
Right, but so do older men approach you?
Yes.
But you've never dated one?
No.
So listen to what you're saying. I want a lifestyle that a man would have to be at least in his 40s to afford. And then he's going to have to make himself in the top 5% of earners in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to make $400,000 a year, you're in the top 5%, almost the top 1%. You're talking about,
right.
I know men that make that kind of money. I don't even want to get into my past, but anywho, and yet you've never dated one.
No.
So, what do you bring to a man of that age and that level of income, that level of maturity, gravitas? What do you bring to him?
Well, the things I mentioned before, but
okay, but I'm gonna just be honest though.
I don't have.
I need to let me just ask it. I mean, somebody my age, what do I need with your network at 20 years old? You need my network. I don't need your network.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
And that is the questions I'm trying to get you ladies to start asking.
Right.
See, ma'am, you're asking for an extremely small fraction of men. And why do you need that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to homeschool?
I mean, the thing is, I genuinely don't feel like I need that, but I think putting into
no, ma'am,
context.
no, ma'am, you do need it if you want to live in Buckhead.
Mm-hmm.
See, what it is you're saying is, you didn't say I would be all right living in, in the lower income part of town. You want a upper middle class or lower upper class lifestyle. I mean, you expect to own a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of car would you expect to drive you and your children in?
Maybe like a Porsche truck.
You're laughing, but here's the thing. I need you ladies to start asking yourself, what do I bring to a man who's making $400,000 a year, can afford to put me in a house in the neighborhood that I'm in right now, driving a Porsche truck? What do you bring? Because that's what you want. And I'm cool with that's what you want. And I'm not judging it. What I'm asking you is what value do you bring to him? And what these first two calls have kind of shown is you ladies don't really do that a good job at understanding what a man at the level you wants.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you expect that to? So Godiva, I'm gonna unmute you. How do you expect? Because Godiva, you were saying that I'm good at basically inspiring and giving and loving, but how do you guys expect to get chosen first?
Okay. Well, I expect to get chosen first because I'm teachable. I've always been teachable. I'm a very quick learner, and yeah.
Why didn't you say you dated a high value man before?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he keep you?
To be honest, he had been divorced, and it kind of went topsy-turvy when it came to talks of like marriage. One minute he was serious, the next minute wasn't, and so I had to walk away from that situation.
Oh, you left him after how long?
It was about a year and a half.
But you knew he was divorced within the first month of dating.
On the first date.
So that can't be. So you left him because he.
No. So what I'm saying is basically on our first date, he let me know like he had been married previously, and I thought it was very honest because a lot of people shy away from telling you those kind of things. So
no, they don't.
Oh, really?
No, they don't.
Oh.
My group I got 600 people in the group, and every man in there wants to be married.
No. I'm saying that he had been married, but he was.
But I have men, basically, men who want to marry aren't shy about talking about marriage or divorce or anything.
Okay.
What you're kind of showing is that you don't really, you have some preconceived notions about, because you said men are this way, men are that way, and basically sounds to me, hold on, listen. Just because men who want to marry know they want to marry and they go into it. Did he say he wanted to get married, or did he say he was open to marriage?
He said he wants to be married again.
All right. He wanted to be married again. And were you guys dating one another exclusively?
In the beginning, no. But within the second or third month, it became exclusive.
All right. And he wanted to get married. Did he say he wanted to marry you?
Nope. That's what I'm saying. I just kind of realized, for him at least, I can't speak for every man. I just started to realize it wasn't as serious as I thought it was. And I kind of felt like the rebound, like he had just gotten divorced.
All right, ma'am. Let me stop you because, again, this is on you. Because if the man said he wanted to be married and you guys weren't dating exclusively for the first 2 or 3 months, why did you date a man exclusively 2 or 3 months later who did not want to marry you? Who said he wanted to be married?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can honestly say that I made a mistake with that relationship. I wasted
Well, that's
a lot.
fine. But what I'm trying to get you to also understand is I don't think you really get. He may have been a higher earner, but that doesn't necessarily put him into the category of the guys I'm talking about. And at the end of the day, I'm not really hearing that you're teachable in these things, but that's still. I mean, are you openly out there trying to compete and get a husband?
Yes, pre-COVID, I would make sure that I go out and everything like that, get dressed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is why, but you're gonna have to do more.
Yes, I've been looking.
You're gonna have to do much more because you're. I got a 20-year-old woman on, and that's her picture. She's very attractive.
Mm-hmm.
That's your competition. Y'all still talk about the same caliber of man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really sense the sense of urgency with a lot of women, black women in particular, about finding this elite level husband that you all seem to want. And honestly, you don't even seem to know him. He's just a wallet and a fantasy, but I'm willing to talk about it. You can speak, Jordan. Hold on. Let me go ahead and put you guys. Hold on. Let me put you two on mute for a second, because we're gonna. Sure. Hold on. Let me go ahead and mute you for a second. All
right, guys. So that's gonna be the ending of this video. What I loved here was within these back-to-back calls, these women are, they have a difference in age, but still they're looking for the same man. And what do we notice? Two women are sitting out here looking for the same man, and what they both have in common is they don't really know how to get this man or what this man is going to actually require. They only have their standards and their wants and needs. And there has to be a time in which women come to a relationship or come to another man with something other than demands. Because yes, men know what they have to be. We men know exactly what we have to be. Do you know what you have to be? Do you know what you have to offer? Do you know how to make yourself different, how to make yourself appealing? And that has been lost these days because a lot of women believe that everything will be served up on a platter to them. Not only do they believe that they're just going to find men and men are just going to be flocking towards them, but they also believe the high quality and the top tier men are also going to be doing the same. When you have a plethora of competition, why would he choose you? And then if you make the wrong mistakes earlier on in your life, and then you get a bit older, and then a woman who's much more beautiful than you are didn't make all the mistakes you made, now you're competing with her. She may be younger. So this highlights the importance, or the lack of importance, one or two things, that women really don't care about what a man wants and how important it is to be a high value man. Because it could be from 18 to 30 or 40. They're all looking for the same person. They're all looking for the same person. Having dealt with many, still being drug and swung around, but still looking for the same person. Everyone, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Turn on post notifications so you will be alerted when we upload more videos just like this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.